Okay, so stage 1 of AntarMouna is awareness of sense perception. So we're working with Pratyahara. So it induces the first part of Pratyahara, the disassociation of the senses from the outside world, leading into stage 2, which is awareness of spontaneous thought process. So we will go further with AntarMouna, hopefully, and see where you're at and what you think of it. I want to work with you, and if it's not for you and you want to move into something else, I really want the group consensus, and I want to help guide you and support you as opposed to me thinking what I think you need. Okay, so stage 3 is conscious creation of thoughts. Stage 4 is awareness and disposal of spontaneous thoughts. Stage 5 is thoughtlessness, and that's not being selfish. Thoughtlessness is different. This is the perfection of this stage implies the attainment of Pratyahara, okay, which is going to lead to the destination, which is the last stage, dhyana, which is meditation. Okay, so I'm going to guide you through the first stage of AntarMouna once I've spoken to you about the Vayus. Okay, so you may have heard of the Vayus. Some of you maybe some of you, I know, I'm aware, have done have began teacher training. So perhaps you've gone over it or you've spoken about it. But it's a lot of teacher trainers, they don't include it in a 200-hour. It's another 500-hour thing. But I think if you really want to, you don't, for part of your assessment, you don't need to include the Vayus. But I think if I give you the information, you can do with it what you want. If you build your foundations, then you can grow in the way that you feel is beneficial to you. Okay, so if you have the information of the Vayus, you can build a better practice for yourself and for others because you have more of an understanding of the energetics of it. It can sometimes seem complex, but we're going to break it down and simplify it. Okay, so the Vayu in Sanskrit, it basically means to carry or to move. Okay, so each Vayu animates both mental and physical functions. So we've spoken about doshas, you know, from the Ayurvedic perspective. So doshas, we have vata, pitta, and kapha, and we are going to go deeper with that as well. So each dosha has 5 sub-doshas, okay? So what the Vayus, they're also called the 5 prana Vayus. So so vata is run by prana, okay? So the Vayus are the sub-doshas of vata, okay? So of all of the energetic systems, Vayu is the most accessible and easily transformed. So the reason I did a lateral sequence with you first, and then we did a forward bend, and I have spoken about twist, and I've incorporated twist, is we get more of an understanding of how the Vayus work, and I will apply it and speak about it, okay? So each Vayu has a name, a location, action, and function, and I will give you a little table on this so you can go back to it, okay? So the table and function here, so the first Vayu is, I've taken loads of notes this morning, I'm doing lots of studying today. I'm really enjoying studying, so I can give you more, going back to all my stuff that I'm really getting like really into it, so I can give you as much as I can. So apana is the first one, okay, and I've spoke about apana the past few practices, just so you can get an idea of these words, and some of you will obviously be aware of it. Don't worry if you're not. So the location of apana is the pelvic floor. So apana, it's force or action. I would say it's more, it's force or action is descending. It's going down. So it's very grounding. Its function is elimination, letting go. Okay, so it grounds, it stabilizes, it helps you return to embodiment. So you also have physical elimination, physical grounding, but how do you work with that from the mental perspective? So elimination from the mental perspective is forgiveness, letting go. You get rid of old beliefs and ideas. So working with this value, as if when I was speaking about the moon, you need to, when the moon is at its, when you try just before the new moon, when it's really dark, you've got to let go and eliminate as much as you can that's not working for you, so that then you can let in more. So Apana ground stabilizes and it's in charge of elimination. So if you've got weak Apana, it can be, you've got a hard time of letting go of things. And you know, a lot of, I know Ali's 20-minute sequence, one of her themes was about letting go. So it could have been an Apana based practice. So moving into Samana, okay. So Samana, Vayu, Sam means equal, okay. So it's the equalizing, so Samana breath means equal breath, you know, so it's the equalizing or balancing Vayu located in the abdomen, okay. So its function is assimilation, digestion, and metabolism. Metabolization. Rubbish at saying things this morning. So it's a force that moves you into quiet and stillness. It gives you that. It's the one that we use that helps us with the health and the progress of a yogi. You know, so what you guys are doing is you're assimilating as well. So as well as the physical side of things, it's you know, you're really working with digestion and metabolization. It's also the assimilation of what you're learning and making it your own. You know, so that more of the ancient sages have said that Samana is one that to be a great yogi and to be able to be in your practice and to be able to teach is your ability to assimilate. So it means extracting the vitality from what we consume and converting the substance to energy. So that could be eating well, and then and our bodies are healthy, but it also is thinking the right thoughts, making wise choices because we're doing our practices. So mentally, it's the capacity to extract the wisdom from your life experience to move to the next stage in evolution. So weak Samana is when you make the same mistakes over and over, you know? So we've all been there. I used to be like that with men. But we have all been there in our life experiences, and everyone has different paths. So you can think of, if you've been reading the Eckhart Tolle book that I recommended, it's not essential reading, but it really helps you understand others and yourselves from that sort of perspective. And it's the same thing with the values. You can see somebody they've got weak Samana, or I've got weak Samana. You know, it's really interesting. Okay. So moving into, so some people call it prana vayu, but I think to make it easier, we could call it pran vayu, because prana, we know what prana is. So pran vayu instead of prana vayu, just to keep it less complex. It's not incorrect to call it pran vayu. So pran vayu, we worked with pran vayu in our lateral practice. So the Samana, going back, it's in the abdomen. So we're assimilating in the abdomen. So this is with digestion. Okay, so Apana, pelvic floor, Samana, equalizing abdomen. So Pran is in the head and the heart. It's energizing, and its function is to energize and revitalize. So it's activating. Okay, so the pran vayu, something that really works with the pran vayu is working on the inhale, which is what we did with our last pranayama. We were working with the lengthening of the inhale, or the hold after the inhale, and we were looking at that from in the lateral practice as well. So its direction is internalizing. So its function isn't internalizing. Its direction is internalizing, but its function is energizing. So I think when this coronavirus hit us all, it did, because it took so much out of us, and almost we needed our energy to almost assimilate, they meant that we didn't have the enough energy, or our pran values became quite weak. I think a lot of us with that, because when you've got weak pran value, it's when you don't have the capacity to retain or take in information. Pran is exhausted. You're like, oh, so we all needed to just be and allow it, and that was the let go, the apana side of things. We needed to ground ourselves because we were weak in prana. So that's when the laterals, that's why I gave you that lateral practice as one of the first ones, because we're really building the pran. So then you're able to retain information and work with that. So located in the heart and head, and it's internalizing, and it's also up as well. Pran vayu, it goes up. So it recharges the mind and the body. And it's related, as well as being related to inhale, it's also related to the heartbeat as well. Okay? So the next one is Udana, which is based in the throat area. And this was really interesting for when I was going back to it, so I could speak through it with you. And the fact that there's a few of you guys, not a lot of you, but a few of you guys have contacted me with neck issues, and I've my neck's not played up for a while, but obviously I broke it at C6 a long time ago. But it's based in the throat area, Udana, and it's the ascending force. It's upwards, and it's about enthusiasm, growth, and inspiration. It's actually, so this is the interesting part to this. This is the one that's it's related to Kundalini yoga, the higher chakra awakening. It's the ascending force, and its function is to help you grow and aspire. So when I broke my neck, it was in 2003 on an Ashtanga yoga teacher training. I was doing somebody flipped me back, or it could have been in a car crash around about that time, but nobody x-rayed me until a long time after. But at that point, I was working with, that was when I really found my yoga back in like 2003, and so I did a teacher training, not only for my own practice, but it's interesting, the more you're working with the higher chakras, so perhaps the throat thing. So people assume that some of this is based in your heart, or it's more in Ajna chakra, but Udana, the vayu, is based in the throat area. So I just found that quite interesting, whether you do or not. I wanted to relay that information to you. So it comes from, it's the spontaneous impulse to expand yourself. That's what's born from Udana. So that's the mental side of things, is the higher chakra awakening and wanting to evolve and grow and aspire. The physical side, this is like where children are growing physically, or we're, it's just about being stronger, even as grown-ups, if we're doing a lot of new planks and downward dogs were bone stacking, so strengthening the bones. You know, it prevents osteoporosis and stuff like that. So that's part of that too. So it's great that the way that we can, you know, take this together. So it's physical growth as well as mental growth. Okay, so enthusiasm, growth, inspiration. So we need udana, this rise, this value, to be enthusiastic, to want to grow and aspire. You know, if you just want, you know, that's why I get you to write why you want to be a yoga teacher. I want to know that you're passionate about it, not you just want the certificate at the end so you can earn money. You know, it's about that passion. Okay, so and then we come to the last value. Okay, this value distributes and circulates, and it can also, you know, it's also kind of known as the master of the values, because it really is expansive and it integrates everything mentally and physically. So its area is the entire body, inside and outside. It's also related to the aura. Okay, so it's about distributing, circulation. It integrates all values. It's an all-pervasive, vital force. It's expanding. So the cultivation of this value expands the personality. So if you find, you know, you're like, oh, you know what, you go to places and you're feeling a little bit introverted and you don't feel you want to mix with others, working with this value allows you, as well as the circulation of the body, it allows you to circulate in life and move into any place you need to go, physically or mentally. Yeah. So it's quite deep. But it's very interesting. Now, the important thing to remember with the values, I would say, is the energy is primary and matter is secondary. Yes. So in other words, prana moves first, and then its material counterpart. So prana influences matter more than matter influences prana. So by working with prana energy, we're really working with, like, trying to help move the matter, you know, so really applying the values. So we'll look back on some of the last two practices that we've done, so you can figure out, so next time in our next practice, like, oh, how does the values work here, so that we can apply it. Because we will go back to that chart that I showed you, the energetics, the biodynamics chart. So the first one we did was laterals. And I think you may have noticed that really worked with prana, which was in and up. We also worked with udana and vyana, okay? So vyana is all about, so laterals, you're stretching and circulating. It's the rise. So what is on the other side of things? That's why I did laterals and forward bends one after the other, because they're very, very different. With forward bending, we're working with apana, which is the grounding, samana, which is the calming and stabilizing. So with the values, you have down and up, in and out, and centered. Yeah? So that's how you can figure these out. So we will incorporate in both of them, and I always like to incorporate, I don't think everyone should and does, incorporate a few twists in your practice. Is it nice? It rings out the spine and neutralizes it as well. But twists bring in apana and samana. So apana eliminates, allows you to let go, but also it's good for elimination. But it also provides samana, that stabilization, which we need as well. Okay, but we're going to go deeper into how the values work with and it all comes together. We've spoken about the doshas from Ayurvedic perspective, and we've also spoken about the gunas, because we first spoke about the gunas, part of what prakriti is. So our forward balancing practice that we did this week, the forward bends increase tamas. And but if it's too much forward bending, it makes it tamasic. But the right amount can make it sattvic. Okay, so it helps to, in this day and age just now, with all the stress and stuff like that, there's a lot of vata, head stuff. So it reduces vata, but it also reduces pitta. Forward bends compress the liver, and the liver is associated with pitta. Okay, so it helps to increase kapha. It gives you that sense of stability. So laterals on the other side of things are more rajasic. Okay, so they decrease kapha, so they stop you from being tamasic. They're also but the thing is with them, they can either increase or decrease pitta. So again, because it's related to the liver, so you would say if you were a pitta, the laterals that you would do would be more seated laterals, like we did with the apex, the paramrita Janushirshasana, as opposed to the real opening standing ones. Because so we're going to go deeper into it. Sorry, there's lorries going past and everything here. And then coming back to twists as well. Twists are sattvic. Okay, so that as well as balancing and bringing in samana, they prepare the ground for clarity and ease. So they are the postures to work with to really bring in that spiritual awakening. So they prepare the ground, they clear things to build that foundation so you can grow. So, and also they massage the kidneys, and according to the Chinese, the ancient Chinese the practices, the kidneys are related to fear. So by that squeeze of the kidneys, by working with twists, you're breaking down fear releasing. Yeah. Okay, so that's the values. So I think we're going to prepare ourselves for AntarMouna, your meditation practice. But before that, we're going to do a pranayama, just to get us into it. The pranayama we're going to work with today, Nadi Shodhana, just to bring a little bit of samana, a little bit of balance and sattva into our lives and our practice. It's one that's always a go-to, I think. And it's easy to practice. So, excuse my nails are a little bit ratty just now. So you're working with your ring finger and your thumb. Some people tell you to practice it by your mudra should be curling that middle fingers in. For me, I find it really awkward. I think perhaps from a genetic perspective, a lot of my family have early onset arthritis, and it's really sore and awkward for me to do that. So I and some people have their fingers in the Ajna chakra to work with Nadi Shodhana. There's lots of different ways of teaching or practicing. I allow my middle fingers to free flow and be where they're at, so I don't get stuck in my mind stuff. I think it's more important to be comfortable with where you are, making sure your spine is long. You're not going to be moving. You can sit in easy position, Siddhasana, and just allow yourself to connect. So closing your eyes, you're blocking off your right nostril and breathing slowly and smoothly through the left. Block off the left and breathe out through the right. Breathe in through the right. Block it off, breathe out through the left. Breathe in through the left. Block it off and continue. Finish your last round. Taking your fingers into Gyan Mudra, resting your hands onto your thighs, closing your eyes, tuck the chin in slightly, relaxing any tension in the pelvis. Be aware of the length of your spine, relax your jaw, your shoulders. So sitting in a steady and comfortable position. Keep the spine erect, but without strain. Close your eyes and keep them closed for the whole practice. Say to yourself, now I will start the practice of RYT200. First of all, be aware of your body. Feel the sensations of touch, the pressure of your body against the ground, the sensation of your blanket or your clothes on your body, and so forth. Fill your whole attention on the sense of touch. Do it intensely until you lose interest. Then become aware of the outside environment. Become aware of all sense experiences, whether they disturb or not. Let perception of external stimuli arise without the slightest resistance. Do not control the mind. Only be alert to the outer world. Keep yourself receptive to everything that has taken place in the surroundings. Do not make excessive effort, for this will create mental tension. Let there be choiceless awareness. Though there are various sense impressions, sound will be the most prominent. Be aware of outer sounds. The sound may be a car, a telephone, a bell, a radio, birds, people talking, whatever. Listen carefully with detached awareness. Listen to these sounds without judgment, thinking, or analysis. Only hear the sounds without concern for their cause. If you hear a bell in an adjoining room, do not think of the bell, only listen to the sound. But you should remain aware, a spectator. Do not identify with any of the sounds. Say to yourself, I am the seer, unaffected by these sounds. Always consider that the external perceptions are a relation between the objects and the senses. They don't affect you, the seer inside. At first, you should be aware of all sounds in the environment without choice. Do not choose, only receive. Continue this for a few minutes. Now you should choose a prominent sound and fix your attention on it to the exclusion of all other sounds. Now switch your attention to another sound of your choice. Remain alert, be aware, do not sleep. So now be aware of different sounds in turn. So alternate the sounds. Put all your attention on one sound and then changing. Then again, be aware of all sounds that arise at the same time. Expand your perception of the external world to the full. Stretch your perception to the limits. Hear even the slightest sound. Try not to think, only awareness of external sense experiences. Now become aware of your breath. Fix your whole attention on the flow of your breath in your nostrils. Cut off perception of outside sounds and continue breath awareness for a few minutes. Now, again, direct your attention to the outside world. Again, become aware of external sounds. As before, you can fix your attention on the general noise in the surroundings or choose one prominent sound. Be alert, do not introvert and become lost in thoughts. Listen to a clock ticking. Listen to someone coughing. Listen to someone speaking. Listen to the wind. Listen to the sound of silence. Listen intently. It does not matter whether you perceive many sounds or one particular sound, but listen to the outside world as though it is something strange to you. Now you're going to come back to your breath and be aware only of the breathing process. Don't listen to outer sounds, only perceive the flow of your breath. Fix your whole attention on the breath. The way that helps me concentrate on the breath instead of getting distracted is I use the mantra, Kundalini mantra, as I inhale thinking Satanama and I exhale Satanama. It stops the wandering mind. Inhale Satanama, exhale Satanama. Satanama is to do with the cycle of life. So now coming back to perceiving outer sounds. Either concentrating on one specific sound or on all sounds. Be the observer, don't become attached and don't allow your mind to wander. So again, coming back to your breath, fixing your whole attention on the breath. Let go of listening to outer sounds and only perceive the flow of your breath. Don't allow your mind to wander. Connect to your breath. Going back to external sounds and noises now. Watching with no judgment, observing. And again, back to your breathing. Only your breath. Only your breath. And now, allow your awareness to come back into your body. Be aware of where your body's sitting on the floor, the sensations on your skin. And then you can move about if you need to, opening your eyes, coming back into the real world. Welcome home. So I was gonna like describe AntarMouna to you before you practiced it, but I thought I would speak about it after your practice because I think it's better to feel it and to know it as opposed to think it. So everyone will have got something. A lot of my students have said that they find that such an irritating meditation. If you've got a busy mind, it's really difficult, but that's the whole point to it. So practicing pratyahara. Some people love it, but as you progress along the stages, the more complex stages are a lot more fun. But it's always the same with with tapas, and you have to sometimes go through some of the crap to get to the fun parts. But I find it fun in the sense that if you it helps you to become the curious observer, which I would say that you should apply to everything in your life. So it helps with that. So stage one that you've just practiced just now is the awareness of sense perception. Okay, so this is the preliminary stage of AntarMouna, which you have to become aware of sensations and experiences in the external world. And most of our sense perceptions come through the eyes. However, in AntarMouna, the eyes are closed, so the perceptions which arise during the practice will be sounds, smells, etc. And the most compelling of these will be sound. So stage one is primarily concerned with perceiving external sounds. So the purpose of this is to eventually induce a state of introversion in preparation for stage two. So most people have been conditioned since birth to remain extroverted. There's almost an addiction to outside stimuli. So until one becomes introverted, it's impossible to start exhausting negative subconscious data from the mind. So the practice is designed to neutralize responses to external phenomena, to become detached and unaffected by the outer world. Even if for a short period of time, it helps you to sit in the eye of the storm. So this introversion is essential for meditative practice. Many people know this, and they try to force themselves to be introverted. They fight their mind and force it to ignore sense impressions. And this merely builds up tension and prevents meditation. Therefore, the first stage of AntarMouna does not try to suppress the inclination to perceive outer sense data. In fact, the method of this stage prescribes intentional awareness of the outer world. Perceive outer impressions, let them arise, and in time you'll automatically become introverted. So I always speak about the paradox of everything. So you'll spontaneously lose interest in the outside world. And when this happens, you're ready to begin stage 2. So the mechanics of external perception. So for the sake of explanation, we can say that there's 3 main factors involved in external sense perception. So these are the sense organ. So this is the transmitter of perception. And 2 is the object of perception. And 3 is consciousness, the inner perceiver. So these 3 factors are involved in all sense perceptions, whether it's hearing, seeing, smelling, tasting, or touching. Consider the act of hearing, for example. The sense organ that receives sound vibrations is the ear. The source of a sound is an external object, perhaps a car horn. And the 3rd factor is that which perceives sound. So this is the inner consciousness. So without this inner consciousness, nothing can be perceived. Furthermore, from the point of view of consciousness, both the ear and the source of the sound are external. This also applies to smell and the nose, form and the eyes, taste and the tongue, and touch and the skin. They're all external to the inner consciousness. This consciousness is the drashta, the seer, in the innermost depths and center of your being. So when this consciousness can be separated and dissociated from the external sense organs and objects, then one can begin to explore the subconscious mind. So this is the aim of stage 1, what you've just practiced. Okay, so I'm going to put you off of mute so I can speak to you and see how you got on. It's actually getting cold in here. It's gone all grey and horrible here. Let's see. I'll unmute you all. Okay. So, how did you get on, guys? Yeah? Yeah? Oh, that's good. Yeah. Did anyone find it irritating?
Yeah.
To be honest, that's
I just want to say, my husband is next door working, so I could hear him coughing, burping, and typing on his keyboard. So my ignoring skills weren't really that good. So yeah, it was quite good to focus on it.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I couldn't hear him farting, but.
You'll find that some meditations are like, oh my God, I love that. And some you'll be like, oh my God, that was horrific. And sometimes it's your state of mind at that point, or you know, the energy of the day. And sometimes it is the circumstances. So it is a good one to apply to help you practice. If being distracted is one of your things that you need to work on, AntarMouna is one of the go-to meditations. So it's an interesting one. All right. So does anyone have any questions? No? Are you all just fine and dandy? Well,
I find it. Sorry, I just wanted to apologise for being late and coming in. I thought I was really prepared, but I'm just not a techie person, so I'm sorry if I disrupted people.
No, you're fine and dandy. Don't worry, Emma. It's all good. All good. Yeah, so if you've got any questions, if you come away from this and think, oh, I want to ask this, or you know, or there's something private, like personally came up for you, and you want to ask and discuss it, give me a shout, and obviously it won't be discussed with anyone else. But I am here, as you know, for you, to support you along this weird journey we're on. Yeah, so give me a shout and let me know how you get on. But you don't have to give me a shout. But I will hopefully see you on Tuesday. And thank you so much for this morning. Enjoy the rest of your day. And I'll send you. Right, bye guys.
Thank you. Bye. Bye everyone.
Bye.
Bye.